I collapsed in front of 50 people, and the only one who moved was the boy I'd been trying to destroy for 10 years. Let me back up. My name is Mara Ellis, and I have wanted to beat Jake Morrison at something anything since the 4th grade. That was the year he got a perfect score on the state math assessment and Mrs. Calloway hung his paper on the bulletin board right next to mine, which was 1 point lower. 1 point. I still think about that. We went through middle school like that. High school like that. He was valedictorian by a margin of 3/100ths of a GPA point. I won the regional science fair the same weekend he won the debate championship. We applied to the same university, Crestfield, and we both got in, full scholarship, same program. I genuinely considered transferring. But I didn't. Because losing to Jake Morrison by running away was not something I was willing to do. So here we are. Senior year. The Harlow Group internship. The most competitive placement in our entire department, maybe in the entire university. 1 position. 42 applicants whittled down to 2 finalists. Me. And him. The final presentations were scheduled for a Tuesday morning in the Whitmore Auditorium. I had been preparing for 6 weeks. My slides were perfect. My research was airtight. I had practiced my delivery so many times that my roommate Simone told me if she heard the phrase scalable market integration one more time she was going to move out. I woke up that morning and I felt fine. A little tired, but that was normal. That had been normal for a while, actually. I'd been pushing through a kind of bone-deep exhaustion for months, chalking it up to stress, to senior year, to the pressure of the internship race. I told myself everyone felt this way. I got dressed. Blazer, heels, hair up. I looked like someone who had everything under control. The auditorium filled up fast. Faculty, internship committee members, a handful of students who had nothing better to do than watch 2 overachievers compete. I sat in the front row with my laptop and my notes and I did not look at Jake, who was sitting 6 feet away doing the exact same thing. Dr. Wren introduced us. Jake went first. I watched his presentation from the corner of my eye, cataloging every point, every pause, every moment the committee leaned forward with interest. He was good. He was always good. That was the problem. Then it was my turn. I stood up. I walked to the podium. I clicked to my first slide. And then the room started to tilt. It wasn't dramatic at first. It was subtle, a soft blur at the edges of my vision, a warmth spreading up through my chest, a sudden, overwhelming heaviness in my limbs. I had felt this before. I had always managed to fight it off before. Not this time. The last thing I remember clearly is gripping the edge of the podium. I remember the microphone making a sharp noise as I knocked it. I remember thinking, not now, please not now, not in front of him. And then I remember nothing. When I came back, I was moving. Not walking, being carried. Strong arms under my knees and behind my back, a firm chest against my cheek, the sound of doors swinging open and cold air hitting my face. I blinked. The ceiling tiles of the hallway slid past above me. I turned my head. Jake Morrison was carrying me out of the auditorium. His jaw was tight. His eyes were forward. He was moving fast, and he was not looking at me with pity or with triumph or with any of the expressions I might have expected from my greatest academic rival in the middle of my most humiliating moment. He looked scared. "Put me down," I said. My voice came out wrong, thin and far away. "No," he said. "Just that. No." Jake dash. "There's a car outside." Dr. Wren called ahead to the clinic. He finally looked down at me, just for a second. "I've got you, Mara. Stop fighting me for 30 seconds. And I was so exhausted, so completely wrung out, that I actually listened. At the clinic, they ran tests. A doctor asked me questions I didn't fully track. At some point Simone appeared and held my hand so hard my fingers went numb. Jake sat in the waiting room. I know because every time I looked through the glass partition, he was still there. The diagnosis wasn't a surprise to the doctor. It was a surprise to me. Narcolepsy. Moderate presentation. The exhaustion, the sudden heaviness, the moments I'd been fighting off all year, it all had a name now. I sat with that for a long time. And then the doctor said something that cracked the floor open beneath me. "You're lucky you have someone looking out for you," she said. "Your friend outside, he described your symptom pattern in detail when he called ahead. He said he'd been monitoring it for months. Months." I looked through that glass partition again. Jake was still there. Elbows on his knees. Head down. Waiting. And I thought about every single time this year that something had pulled me back from the edge of one of those episodes. A sudden noise. A hand on my shoulder. A voice cutting into the fog. I had thought it was coincidence. I had thought it was luck. It wasn't luck at all. He had been watching over me for months. Protecting me from professors, from classmates, from my own body, and I had spent every single one of those months trying to beat him. So when I finally walked out of that clinic and looked him in the eye, I had one question: why? Stay tuned for the next part.